Would you like to know how to make this faux leather notebook? Keep watching. Hi everyone, my name is Sienna. I am the designer and co-founder of VectoriaDesigns. Online you can find quite a few tutorials how to make faux leather. I have my own technique that I like to use and I like to share it with you today. And that's not all. I'm going to share how to make this whole notebook from scratch. If you like paper crafting like I do, please subscribe to our channel. And if you like this tutorial, please give it a big fat thumbs up. And now let's start. So I'm going to start with a sheet of craft paper. I have an A4 page, but you can do the same with an 8.5 by 11 page, of course. It's just the same process. I'm going to cut this in half. I already marked center. One of these is going to be the inside, so I don't need that until later. And I need a sheet of baking paper. Now, this is already too large, so I'm going to trim it a bit. I don't want to be too big, but just to be safe, leave a little margin. So this piece is a good inch or even more on every side larger. That's just for safekeeping. Okay. Crumple the whole thing. Now you can leave it at this, but if you like more and finer crumbs, crumple it again. And carefully open it back. Again. See? There's more wrinkles everywhere and they're finer, and that's what I like because it's going to be a little book and I want the wrinkles to be very, very fine, the cracks I mean. So I'm going to go in there again, just work it, open up again, carefully. The more you do this, the more fragile this paper will become. So, there, that's starting to look good. Then to flatten it out, I'm going to use this brayer. You can do it with your hands too, or a bottle, but I have this on hand, so let's check. Yes, you see, it already shrunk a bit because of the wrinkling, but it's still large enough. Let's give it some color. I have some scrap cardstock here and I'm going to put my paint on here. And the paint I have is a little tube of acrylic paint. And the color is burnt sienna, but you can use any brownish color that you like, or even another color. Just go nuts. I'm going to put this under here just to protect my work surface. And then because I want it to go fairly fast, I'm going to brush the paint on with a sponge. Oh, like this, just because it goes faster. There. And I'm going to use a bit of water in there, not too much, because I want a fair amount of paint on there. Like this. And I really like to get in those cracks too. When you painted it all, I'm going to go in there with another color. So I used burnt sienna first, and I'm going to use burnt umber. That's just a darker shade of brown, and I want to mix them a bit, so I'm going to go in there with this one, there, like that. Just keep dabbing it so it gets a bit blotchy. And since I have some lighter spots here, I'm going to use that over there. So, it's already starting to look very, very cool. I'm very pleased with this. Now, if you're ready, let it dry. You can just air dry it, or use a heat gun, or a hair dryer. That's all fine. So this is dry. I just used my hair dryer. It took like 2 minutes. And while I was drying this, I was thinking I want some metallic splashes in there. So I took out my bronze metallic acrylic paint And I'm just going to use the same brush again and just put a little bit on there. I want some small effects. Just dab it here and there. See? And just go over there very lightly just to have that little metallic effect here and there. See? Gets a shiny overlay. You could have done that before the drying, but I didn't think of that earlier. So that's why. And this way you can play with the colors as you like. Metallics, non-metallics, all kinds of colors, because you can make a nice emerald green one with light green, dark green. More metallic paint than I had anticipated, but why not? Now I'm going to dry it for a second time. With my hair dryer, it took like 1 minute and it was dry already. For the next layer, I'm going to build on this. I'm going to take an ink pad. This color is a dark brown called Rich Cocoa. Like this. And I'm just going over there with my ink pad. Start softly. And then you will see all the creases a lot better. Actually, I'm already happy. Doesn't need any more, but it does so much. Now let it dry again. Now that this is dry, I'm going to give it a nice gloss with some Mod Podge on top. Just a regular Mod Podge. And I'm going to use a smaller brush just so I can dip in my jar. So just go over there, don't worry, it'll dry clear. It just gives it a very, very nice finish. Just make sure you get in all the cracks too. When you're ready, let dry again. This baby needs a lot of drying. So the Mod Podge has dried and the white has all disappeared, so I'm very glad with that. And now we have a piece of baking paper that doesn't look like baking paper at all anymore. Now I'm going to glue this on my cover. And for that I'm going to Mod Podge the whole surface. With my brush again, I'm going to make sure that I really get the edges too. So I'm going to start there. There. Edges. Edges. Because I want them to stick. It's all covered with Mod Podge and I'm going to center this on there and really press it well. So you don't have any air bubbles underneath, because the baking paper is still a thin sheet and air bubbles can get trapped under there. So really get over there, the rag if you like. I'm going to use my brayer once again. So and when you're ready, turn it over, cut off the edges until about a big centimeter or half an inch. Like this. I'm using my bad scissors. Like this. Now I'm going to cut these corners like this, but I'm going to leave about 1-2 millimeters, or in inches, let's say a 1/16 of an inch from that corner. See? So that we can cover the corner completely. Like that. Now I'm going to fold over these sides and really glue them well to the inside. And for that you can use Mod Podge again, but to make it a bit more easy I'm going to use my tacky glue. I like to go in there when you see on the edge of the craft paper and the baking paper to extra fix it. So I'm going to fold this over carefully, so really bend it against the paper like this and fix it. My trusty bone folder. Repeat on all the other edges. So I like to go in there on this edge too to really fix it. And then a bit more glue on the rest. There, I think that's enough. And then first put your fingers to the edge, so you're really getting the baking paper against the paper, so you'll end up with a very pretty cover, a sleek cover that's finished beautifully. I actually don't like the way this is crumpling now. You see, I noticed when I used the tacky glue to cover the edges, it started to get a bit wrinkly, and I should have thought of that. Now I tried this one with Tack. Look, straight. I'm using the Tack for the red. I should have thought of that earlier, but now you can learn from my mistakes. So, and that is because the baking paper is so thin, and I'm not actually using cardstock here, so it's quite a thin paper too, 160 grams. Should have thought of this earlier. So now I'm using Tack. Now the downside is it smells. The upside is it works. See the difference? Look. What I'm going to do to let this dry straight is just put a book on it. I'm going to let it dry with a heavy book on top, so Lord of the Rings, Tolkien to the rescue. So this is dry. I accidentally ruined my corner with my nail, but I patched it up with some offcuts and you hardly see it. So I'm really happy with that. Now I'm going to fold the cover in half just to see where the middle is. There. Nice. Like this. Now on the front of my cover I would like a brass label holder, so I'm going to measure where I need to put my holes. Gonna put some cork under there, and here's hole number 1 and hole number 2. Make them a bit larger and put the brads in place like this. This one here. I honestly don't remember where I found this. There was only one. I thought, yay! But then I forgot where I found it. If you want to be sure this doesn't go anywhere, just put some double-sided tape on there. Just a piece. I'm going to turn this way, like this. Take up the backing. There, that won't go anywhere, ever again. And now it's almost time to cover it with the inside, but I want to add some ribbons to close my book. I'm going to make it myself easy. Put a strip of double-sided tape here. Rub it on. Center is here. Like this. Now I want my backing on, but I made it the same size as the cover, and I think I'm going to cut off half an inch. Oh, what am I saying? Cut off a quarter of an inch, about 6 millimeters on each side. Then we'll have a 1/8 of an inch border everywhere. This is 1/4 of an inch. Then I have a 1/8 of an inch on each side. So that went fast. Take my cover. And I think, yeah, I'm not going to use any glue. I'm just going to fill this up with double-sided tape completely to get a really, really good grip. And on the edges, I'm going to put a little bit of glue, so the edges will stick down perfectly. Not too far, I don't want the glue to leak out everywhere. What I like to do is, if I don't want to smudge my fingers too much, is take a wooden spatula. This is a popsicle stick. And just rub out the glue. And then I'm going to center. This is okay. There. Rub it down so it sticks. There. Make sure it sticks everywhere. And look at that. What a beautiful cover. This is a cover of a notebook. It's not a very thick cover, but it's sturdy enough. It has the look and the feel of something leathery, so I'm very happy with that. And I'm going to finish this booklet with some paper in the middle. And I'm going to use the same technique that I used in a video a few months back. For the paper, I'm going to use some beige colored paper. It's the same size as an A4, it's the same size as what I used in the beginning to make the cover. So make a mark where it's the half, like this. That's more than enough paper, so I used 5, 6, 7. I used 6 or 7 pages. So I'm going to fold this whole stack in half. And you see the pages don't line up perfectly, but that doesn't matter. We're going to fix that later on. When I put my pages in the cover, the height is perfect. But you see, these stick out because I folded them in half. I'm going to take a cutting mat and a heavy-duty craft knife and a metal ruler. I put my ruler firmly where the first pages start to fan out. I'm just going to cut. Don't press too hard, just keep cutting. Be sure not to move your ruler. And just keep sliding your knife until you've had all the pages. So no pressing, just slowly cutting. There. Look at that. It's perfectly straight. When I put my pages in the cover now, the cover is a bit larger, but that doesn't matter at all. To get these in here, going to put these in place. Take my stapler. I've opened it so the bottom part doesn't get in the way. There. Then carefully pull it out. And just bend the metal pieces inwards. See where you want your second staple. do the same. There. The ribbons are of course optional, and there's lots of other closures that you can use. Finished with a faux leather cover, just like I like to make it. I truly hope I inspired you to make your own journal or to make something with this fabulous faux leather. And I see you next time, and I wish you a truly beautiful day. Bye everyone.